times, everywhere. People are looking for the answers. Why? Why? The message is quite clear that the spiritual domain is taking its place now again, because we as humans have been abusing it for too long for money. That's the bottom line. It happened in 1886 when the pink and white terraces down in Tarawera were abused by tourism. What happened? It's destroyed. So the same message again is that we think we are in control. We are not in control. That's the simple message. We're just humans. We try to control everything and box it and sell it off as a commodity to sell. How can you sell the earth? How can you sell my brother the trees? We can't. What a cheek that humans even think that they can do this. And the universe has been here for billions of years. We've only been here since yesterday. I pick up the dust, that's it. That's how long we've been here, not long. So it's important that that's the message. That there's a lot of people out there who say, well, this is a whole lot of nonsense. But when you see the climate changes happening, when you see natural disasters happening, when you see unrest and families fighting against families, nations against nations, this is not a revelation that is unexpected when you abuse something for so long. So if you continue to abuse the supernatural, when you continue to think that you can control the supernatural will strike out. And I believe that absolutely. And we have examples throughout the world. That's why, for example, in one culture, if you look at the Jewish culture, God chose Noah. There was too much abuse of the earth. So what he did, he built the ark. And in the ark, he got 2 of each. And then God destroyed the rest, because you know why? Humans have become too evil, too wicked. Same thing, control and power. Because it all comes back down to that. Money, control and power. That has not changed. And until the power shifts back to the supernatural domain, until that includes things like respect, acknowledging the power of the spiritual, acknowledging the power of the ancestral. That's why whakaari is spoken out, unfortunately, and I am saddened by it. That message has got to the world. The whole world has been watching whakaari. There's a message, it's a strong one. We've lost 17 beautiful people, innocent people. But when you continue to abuse things, from our point of view as humans, nature will strike out, at least when we expect it. And when you do go into the domain of the supernatural, she's in control. Whakaari, we're not in control, but the spiritual and the supernatural domain is in control. So whakaari is a sister to the trees here in this domain. Rangi married Papatuanuku, mother, father, sky. They beget Tāne. And then Tāne married Hine Tūpari Maunga and beget whakaari. Tāne married Hine Wauriki and beget all the trees and all the birds and all the insects. So they are very closely related. They are one universal family. They are kin. They are brothers and sisters. And that's the relationship of Waialae and Tahia. When the abuse continues to happen, then human life is the cost. Because it brings people's attention when life has been lost. It draws people in to look and see and try and understand why. That's half the issue. A lot of people think, oh, it's just an eruption, it blew up, and that's all it is. It's nothing else. Those are eyes who can't see and understand the spiritual. Those are eyes that don't understand and can't hear the spiritual. Those that have no connection to the spiritual can't understand what the signs are. And it's just a loss of life, and it's sad, and it's just an eruption, and you've got to sort of go through a process of mourning and then move on. But to me, there's two that have not been found. That's the difference here. That Whakaari has held those two still in her bosom. She hasn't released them. And the research and rescue team, they have my full support, absolutely. We've tried everything. I've done 3 things in terms of this whole unfortunate circumstance, where the spiritual domain has intervened. Did you hear that? Where the spiritual domain has intervened, where Whakaari has intervened. You see, number 1, I placed down the rahui, that's the sacred prayer, the ancient ceremony that protected that area once those lives were lost. Rahui means to focus the energy into that place, into that space, so that no one will be hurt and so that it's prohibited. The prohibition, you can't go swimming, you can't go kayaking, you can't surf, you can't gather food, you can't fish. So the normal things that we do cannot be applied anymore. I had to hold the mauri of that area, and you think of the area and the water space of the spiritual, and looking after the water space of that domain is huge. From one side of the Bay of Plenty to the other. It takes 3 hours to get from one side to the other side back by car. That is huge. By car, driving from one end to the other, 3 hours, and then from the other end back 3 hours. That's the size of the water space. So that was part of my role as one of the spiritual leaders of this whole thing, was to protect the environment, the sea creatures as well, not just the water space, but also recognizing the loss and the death and those that died, making sure that they don't get spiritually lost in the void. That the rahui protected them for that time so that they could spiritually sort of also find the energy, find the light that would channel them from the darkness so they could transition and then travel from where they were, from the void to the spiritual afterlife. That's the role that I have been playing. The second role that I have played is also to ensure that the right communication about what the spiritual and cultural messages have been, so that the world that are looking for answers, so that the world that doesn't live in our domain, in terms of the ancestral and the spiritual domain, realizes that the ancestral and spiritual domain is the tuakana domain. That is the true world. That is the true world. Not the world that we think we live in and exist in. That is not the true world. That is half the problem. So I've had to, and I've had the privilege of having the opportunity to speak to over 34 different networks, with radio, newspaper, so that they can get the message about the importance of the rahui, what it signifies, what it means. And then also the depths of why this happened to us here. You know, New Zealand, the fish, we're the fish, the fish of the, if you know the fin of the fish, the fin, rangatira, that means where our role is to weave a net of knowledge and information based on the spiritual and the cultural knowledge, to tira, to navigate and provide direction so that we can reach the destination. The destination is simply this. To heal the land. This is the destination, to heal the earth. If we heal the land and heal the earth, then we heal the people. And that's